Hey, wonderful swarmers, welcome back to the Hive. You being here makes us happy. Whenever we talk about the climate crisis, the first issues which usually come up are global warming, our carbon footprint, and living without fossil fuels, trying to transition to renewable energies instead. But one of the biggest impacts we have on this planet, which also happens to have one of the quickest wins associated with it if we deploy appropriate solutions, is land management. I'm not talking about the destruction of rainforests, that is definitely on everyone's radar, but I'm talking about the use of the land after there's been some clearing. Whether that's for animal agriculture, crops, or building settlements for us, the way we carry out these activities is hugely impactful on the planet. We can choose that impact to be negative or positive in the long term. The negative end of that spectrum leads to land degradation, which is defined as a process which leads to the deterioration or loss of the productive capacity of the soils for present and future use. There is overall reduction in the biological activity within the soils, which is necessary for fertile and productive land. The causes of land degradation can be either natural or human. Some of the natural influences, like landslides, might be wholly and genuinely natural, while one human-induced cause is likely to be fertilisers, for example. Or the cause might be linked to us through the impacts of the climate crisis, like increasing frequencies and lengths of drought periods. But even landslides are also increasing in frequency in some parts of the world due to the increased heavy dumps of rain in short periods, which is a symptom of climate crisis. Land degradation can take the form of soil erosion, desertification, salinisation, soil acidification or alkalinisation, and soil pollution from chemicals. All lead to reduced productivity and biodiversity. So, as I mentioned, land use is the main reason for widespread land degradation around the globe. 29% of the Earth's surface is land. Of that, 71% is habitable land. 46% of our habitable land is being used for agricultural purposes. That's higher than the areas taken up by forests. You know, forests which sequester over 7 billion metric tonnes of CO2 per year, making them an invaluable carbon sink. But back to agriculture. 77% of agricultural land is used for livestock, and livestock production on industrial levels uses techniques which are not sustainable for the land. We'll link below to a video we did on what regenerative agriculture looks like, an accessible alternative to industrial ag. While agricultural development contributes to food security, unsustainable agricultural expansion, driven in part by unbalanced diets and in part by the because we can attitude, increases ecosystem and human vulnerability, leading to competition for land and water resources, subsequently land degradation. Right from tearing down or burning down forested land to install ag, and including every decision the farmer makes about how they will grow their crops or livestock thereafter, the potential to increase the damage to the land grows. Through tilling, overgrazing, use of excessive fertilisers, and poor irrigation management, agriculture is feeding us in the short term, but causing risks to that being able to continue in the long term. Soil health deteriorates over time if not cared for, and the result is not only reduced yield, but also reduced nutrients within the crops. This will eventually impact everyone, but at the forefront is the local and Indigenous communities who have only themselves to rely on for their food production. And let's not forget that soil is an essential carbon sink, but the poorer the quality of the soil, the less effective it is. So what can we do about all this? We need to be smarter about the use of our land. Governments and policymakers must heed the warnings of the past several decades about the severity of land degradation. They must then severely limit further agricultural expansion. Farmers must use sustainable farming practices, which can play a huge positive part in land and soil restoration, and can do this quite rapidly. You and I must choose our food more wisely. In a recent study looking at historical data, it was found that our food production cycle accounts for 35% of global carbon emissions. Of those emissions, a disproportionate 57% is attributed to animal product. This data was drawn from all over the globe, 171 crops, 16 animal products. Fair to say it was extensive research. They found that producing just 1 kilo of beef causes 70 kilograms of emissions. It's clearer than ever that we need to eat less meat. If we all ate the diet of the average American, we would need to convert all habitable land to agriculture, and then we'd still be 38% short. Looking at this another way, despite the fact that land used for animal agriculture far outweighs the use for crops, 77% versus 23%, it provides only 18% of calories and 37% of global protein. If we don't change the way we think about and care about the ground beneath our feet, humans will face dire food insecurity before the end of the century. And that won't be the only land degradation related issue. I won't be here to see it, but my daughters probably will be. That's it for today's Swrmers. Thank you for joining us again. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe and share our channel with your friends and fam. We know that you're doing what you can to be more sustainable every day, but based on this new information, why not try at least one extra day per week without meat? It will make a difference. See you next time, Swrmers. Take care.